Hello viewers, today's diagnosis is a 2015 Chevrolet Malibu with the check engine light illuminated. As you can see, it's behind the tack there. It kind of likes to hide behind the tack, but it's there. And this vehicle has a few more miles on it than the usual cars I work on, 37,768. So I didn't use GDS2 to read the code here, because usually if the complaint is just check engine light, I'll pull the codes with my simple scan tool here. It's a lot faster than hooking up a GDS2, booting up the application and everything. So I just plug this in and connect it. And as you can see, we have a P305F. I'm going to go show you the description of that code and show you how to figure this problem out, what's going on with it. 99% of the time, you've got a bad auxiliary battery, but I'll show you how to figure that out. So the definition of the code P305F is dual battery control module performance. And quite honestly, I don't really know why they define it as that, because if you read here what causes the DTC to set right here, it's when the engine control module identifies that the voltage during crank at the ignition input auxiliary battery voltage of the ECM is below 8.9 volts for 2 out of 3 start events. So basically what's happening here, your engine control module is monitoring the battery voltage from the main battery and the battery voltage from the auxiliary battery. I'll show you where the auxiliary battery is at. If that voltage drops below a certain amount, it causes the code to set. Now the reason they have 2 batteries in this car is this has the auto stop feature. Whenever you come to a red light, or say you're at the drive-through and the certain criteria is met, the engine will actually shut off automatically even though the vehicle is still on. Well, when the engine shuts off, it's got to restart sooner or later, and since this vehicle uses the actual starter to restart the engine after an auto stop event, it needs a battery to keep your electronic devices in the vehicle running, such as your headlights, a blower motor, different things like that have to keep running. If you use the main vehicle battery to keep those devices running, they're going to go dim every time auto start restarts a vehicle. So what they do is they use this auxiliary battery here, it's in the trunk, to power internal vehicle electronics such as your interior lights, and they also do exterior lights, but basically anything electronic in the vehicle is powered by the auxiliary battery for that brief moment when auto start restarts the vehicle engine with the main battery. So basically it's to prevent voltage drops or dimming lights or whatnot whenever the vehicle is automatically restarted after an auto stop event. Let me show you where this battery's at. It's easy to get to, just pop the trunk. Got a little cover here, the battery on it. You kind of have to pull on it a bit for it to come out even after you turn the little knob. That comes out, and there's your auxiliary battery right here. It's a little bitty thing. It's only rated at 155 cold cranking amps. It's not meant to do much, but I've found that they go bad quite often. But before I just go throwing a battery at it, I want to test the battery and check under the hood, make sure everything's here, because there is a technical service bulletin that will actually tell you to check for a loose ground right here. You want to check and make sure that that ground's tight, because if it's loose, that can set the code. You also want to make sure that the wiring harness isn't rubbing against the body right here and causing a short to ground, because that can also cause the code. Last but not least, the one time I've seen this code caused by something other than a bad auxiliary battery is under this fuse block here. Let me get my little pocket screwdriver and pop this cover up. As you can see, somebody's already been in here looking at this. But I have actually seen these 8mm nuts that hold these fuses here loose, and that also caused the code to set once. But other than that, every single time it has always been the auxiliary battery. So I'm going to go take the auxiliary battery out, test it, verify my diagnosis, and if that's the case, get a new battery ordered. All you really need to get this battery out is just a 10mm nut driver. So if you have one of these, you can get this battery out in no time. You got a 10mm on your negative post, 10mm on your positive post, and then a 10mm bolt that secures the battery in place. I like to take the battery loose first, and then take the cables loose. The reason being is you can get the battery at an angle, and it's much easier to loosen up these 10mm bolts that hold the cables on. Otherwise you're fighting at it with the little trunk insulation piece here. And that one comes off. And that one comes off. And out comes the battery. Don't forget to disconnect the little hydrogen vent tube there so your car doesn't blow up on you. And there's your battery. So let's test it here. The tester. Let's hook it up positive, negative. Tester boots up. Let's punch in the information here. This is out of vehicle since it's disconnected, even though I've technically still got it in the trunk. So let's choose out of vehicle. Test using CCA. And as you can see, this is such a common issue. That was the last test this tester did was on one of these batteries. As you can see, cold cranking amps right there is rated at 155. So let's go ahead and hit enter. And it'll do a test. Most likely it's going to ask me if it's above 32, and in this case it didn't even need to. So as you can see, that is by far a defective battery right there. I've got 12.8 volts, but only 3 cold cranking amps. That's one of, if not the worst I've ever seen. So your battery is definitely bad. Go ahead and unplug this, and we'll replace the battery. Another thing you've probably noticed is that the vehicle auto stop isn't working anymore. It'll come to a red light and the vehicle won't automatically shut off like it used to. The reason being is the auxiliary battery that's responsible for powering the vehicle electronics while the engine is being restarted after an auto stop event is bad. So if it can't power those electronic devices, it's not going to allow auto stop anymore, because the vehicle engine is being restarted using the main battery, and every time you have a vehicle restart, you get a voltage drop. So you would notice your interior lights going dim, your headlights would go dim, you'd have a bunch of weird problems. So to prevent that, they disable auto stop whenever this code sets. And replacing the battery is a simple reverse step procedure of what I showed you in the last clip. So once you get the battery replaced, go ahead and pull out your scan tool and just clear the code. Check engine light goes away, and then what you can do to verify the problem is resolved is shut the vehicle off, restart it, shut it off, restart it. Do that about 4 to 5 times, and if the code doesn't reset, you're good to go. I have seen some of these batteries that still have right on the borderline edge of power with them hang in there, and the code won't set for another few days. But when you got a battery that's out cold like that, the code will come right back. So anyways, hope this helps you guys out. Hope you found it interesting. If any of you have a Malibu that is setting a P305F, hopefully this video will help you out and save you some money. Do it yourself.